Alrighty, y'all. Today we are talking about scale drawings. Okay. When something is drawn to scale, it means it creates a similar figure. Okay. When figures are similar, that means their angles all stay the same, but the side lengths will get bigger or smaller depending. And they have to get larger or smaller based on that same scale or the same ratio, okay, of length to width. All right. So the ratio of length to width on your first image is going to be similar or equivalent ratio to the ratio of length to width on your second image. Okay, so let's take a look at what that will look like on this type of problem we've got right here. Okay, this one says refer to the floor plan. The scale of the floor plan is 1 inch equals 8 feet. Okay, so in this picture, it says for this problem, the actual area of the kitchen. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the kitchen right here. Let me change my color here, make it a little easier to see. I don't know if black will make it any easier. Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so we're going to look at the kitchen. Now, its current dimensions, it says, are 1.5 inches by 2 inches. Okay. Well, if I need to find the actual area of the kitchen, I need to find what the actual area of the length is and what the actual area of the width is, okay, or base and height. Okay, so in order to do that, I have to figure out, okay, 1.5 inches is, well, then how many feet? Okay, so I'm going to do x over 1.5. Okay, so that's the ratio of the actual, okay, over the scale, the model. Okay, and I want to figure out, so the actual is 8 feet in my scale, and 1 inch is what the model would represent. Okay, so the scale that they give us is 1 inch to 8 feet or 8 feet to 1 inch. All right, and I put the feet on top because I am looking for feet. That's the piece I don't know. Okay, so we put the actual over what the model or what the scale would be. Okay, so 8 over 1 would be 8 divided by 1 is 8. And then I would multiply that by 1.5. Okay, and that is going to give me 12. Okay, so x equals 12 feet. All right, so it's going to be a 12 foot by, now we have to do the same exact thing for my 2 inches. All right, so x over 2 inches is how many feet over 1 inch? Okay, again, 8 divided by 1 is 8 times 2 is 16. So that's going to be a 12 foot by 16 foot kitchen. And when I find the area of that, it's going to be 192 feet squared. Okay, so again, when we're finding scale dimensions, all right, we have to find the new dimensions, base and height or length and width, and then calculate the area after that. Okay, let's do um, let's do the same thing again for the office. Okay, it says find the actual area of the office. All right, and the office currently is a 1 inch by 1.25 inch. So let's do the 1 inch part first because that one's going to be pretty easy. So x over 1 equals 8 feet for 1 inch. Well, if 8 feet is 1 inch, then it's going to be 8 feet is going to be the height of that office. Okay, and then the width of that office is going to be the x over 1.25 equals, that's kind of ugly, but, and then 8 feet. Again, feet go on top because I'm finding feet. We have to keep it in alignment there, and inches is on bottom. Um, and inches is on bottom for the scale. All right, it has to match. If you flipped one, you'd have to flip the other. Okay, they have to stay in alignment there. Okay. Okay, so 8 divided by 1 is 8, and then 8 times 1 1/4 is going to be 10. So we're looking at the office that is 8 foot by 10 foot, and that is going to be an area of 80 feet squared. Okay, and you can try the hallway on your own for that one, and then there's a whole nother one that you can give a try to like that if you'd like to try that one on your own. Okay, then we're going to look at another type of problem where we actually have to recreate um, a drawing that is to scale. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. The drawing of the top view of a shed uses the scale of 1 unit equals 2 feet. Okay, so what that means is one block is equal to 2 feet. Okay, it says reproduce the drawing with a scale of 1 unit being 1 foot. Okay, so what that's going to mean here is we're going to take a look at each of our dimensions. So all across, this is 1 unit is 2 feet. All right. So that means our it's currently 4 units, right? So we have uh, and we're going to figure out how many feet. So we have 2 feet is 1 unit. All right. And we currently have 4 units, right? So I want to know, okay, so how many feet does that represent? Okay. And I do 2 divided by 1 is 2 times 4 is going to be 8 feet. Okay. All right. So now we know this side is 8 foot. All right. We're going to do the same thing to the height there. And that is going to be the same scale. 2 feet is 1 unit. So how many feet is 3 units? Same thing. 2 divided by 1 is 2 times 3 is 6. 6 foot. Okay. Okay. Now we have one more step here. We are recreating this, but instead of a 1 unit is 2 feet, I need to use a new scale of 1 unit is 1 foot. Okay, so if we set 1 foot, oh, sorry, 1 unit over 1 foot is how many units then for 6 feet? Now, this is a pretty simple one because it's 1 to 1. So we're going to be able to figure that out pretty easily. But notice I put the feet on the bottom because I knew how many feet I needed. What I was looking for was my units. And so I like to put what I'm looking for on top so I can follow my same process. 1 divided by 1 is 1. And then I multiply by the denominator, which is 6. So that means it's going to be 6 units for the height. Okay, so I can go ahead and already do that here. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's my height there. Okay, and then the width was 8 feet. So we'll do that same calculation here. 1 unit is for 1 foot on this scale. And so how many units will be for 8 feet? Okay, 1 divided by 1 is 1 times 8 is 8 units. Okay, and so from here I will draw 8 units across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and if I wanted to make this real pretty, I'd use the line feature there. Okay, and that's probably really a better way of doing it, but you can see that is a larger rectangle that is drawn to scale. Okay, again, it's kind of one extra step where we have to figure out its original and then calculate its new. Okay, let's try another one like that together that's maybe a little more complicated. Right. The drawing of a walkway uses a scale of 1 to 3 feet. 1 unit is 3 feet. Reproduce the drawing with a scale of 1 unit is 6 feet. Okay. So same thing here. We're going to uh, figure out our width here. So this one says 1 unit is 3 feet. Okay. So, um, and we have 2 units. So we're looking for feet. All right. And we know that 3 feet is 1 unit. And so I need to know, okay, so how many feet is 2 units? All right. Again, I put what I'm looking for on top and I line up units with units and feet with feet. 3 divided by 1 is 3, times 2 is 6. So again, that is 6 feet. And you'll notice that this is also 2 units, and this is 2 units, and this is 2 units, which means it's a 6 foot, 6 foot, 6 foot, and 6 foot right there. Okay, so we don't have to do that 4 times to figure that out. We can just use the same calculation we just did and know all of these are 6. Okay, now the one that's different is this guy here, which is actually 4 units. So we're going to set up the same proportion here, but instead of 2 units, we're going to figure out for 4 units. So 3 feet for one unit is how many feet for 4 units? Okay, 3 divided by 1 is 3, times 4 is 12 feet. Okay, some of you probably did that in your head. You were like, okay, 2 and 4 is double that, and so 6 times 2 is 12. All right, you could do it that way too. All right, but this is how you set up a proportion, all right, our equivalent fractions to find a missing piece. Okay, all right, so now we can recreate this. Now this wants us to do 1 unit is 6 feet. Okay, so now I know the number of feet, but I'm looking for the number of units. So units is go on the bottom, and my scale is 1 unit is 6 feet. So I want to know, okay, so how many units will I do for the 6 foot portion? All right, again, this one's simple because 1 divided by 6 times 6 equals 1 unit. Okay, so that means my top is going to be 1 unit, down 1 unit. And then I'm going to go down again, kind of make that L shape there. Okay, you can actually kind of see what's going to happen here on this particular shape in order to keep it looking the same. But let's go ahead and do our calculations and figure it out. So 1 unit is 6 feet. So how many units will 12 feet be? Okay, 1 divided by 6 is 1/6 times 12 is 2 units. Okay, and if we draw this out here, we got 2 units there and 2 units there. And you can see that it's the same exact shape, just shrunk down a little bit. Okay, same exact shape, just shrunk down a little bit. Okay. Those images are to scale. All right. They are similar figures. All right. Here is another one that you can try on your own. Okay. And one more if you'd like a little extra practice on that. Okay.